I'm not a victim to anything that has ever happened to me. I am totally, this is me. It's over. It was almost as if, you're going up to your shadow and you're grabbing it and you're like looking at it like, like, yeah, try me. And then all of a sudden it's gone, just like that. And I want everybody to do that. I want everyone to experience this because being free is is the medicine too.
Oh, for sure, girl. That's the whole point. As you shared that, like, it's okay. It's okay. And my heart opened. When you said I'm not a victim anymore, this is me. And oh my goodness, the oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Already diving into the deep end. Um, so Erica and I got acquainted through a Facebook group, and I had a passionate request for anybody interested in joining a book study called a book study on the book called Course in Miracles. And long story short, Erica responded, and it ended up being just she and I, despite that it was meant to be a whole lot of other people involved. And so we spent several months diving into that book and learning and growing together, and both emotionally and spiritually, and becoming better friends. And it was great. And then life, as it does, took us in separate directions for a while, and we've tried to reconnect a few times, and it just hasn't worked out until today. So yay, we get to hang out and talk some. Um, so having said that, I'll let Erica jump in and share a little bit about herself. And if you would like to, you can tell us a little bit about the Healing Project. I know that's part of your heart.
Yes. So it's so hard to talk about myself. I don't know why it is, but it just is. And about me, what am I? Who am I? Really, that's the question I've been asking my whole entire life. Who am I? What am I? What do I like? At the core of it, I am a volunteer here, and I'm here to serve people. And I feel like that's something that I've always enjoyed doing and connecting people with each other. That's always been very important to me. And I guess I can start with a little story. Do you mind?
No, go for it.
Okay. So I started Healing Project, and it was because my mom uh, had no outlet to talk about what was going on in her life. She was a single woman. I was born into grief to her, and so she was grieving two people at the time when I was born. And so she had grief going on the whole time, but it was the kind of grief where she doesn't fix it, she doesn't talk about it, she just expresses herself in anger and stuff. So she was expressing herself by being depressed and angry. And so when she died, I thought, I've got two branches. That's from Course in Miracles. There's two ways for me to go. There's the branch. I see it, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to start a healing project. And I'm going to invite people over to my house, and I'm going to have all these, I'm going to have food. It's going to be kind of like what do you call it? A group therapy that you see on TV, AA, all the things. Have a little coffee, have a little everything. And people came, a lot of people came. And I thought it was so cool. And, you never think that you're doing anything wrong, right? When you're doing just that. But um, that one day this lady came over. She was an older lady, and she's like, it was just she and I. And she leans in real close to me. She goes, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like, I felt so accused for a minute. And I was like, well, because my mom, I had my mother who needed an outlet, and I wanted other people to have that outlet as well. and grief was sucky in 2020 because I had no outlet whatsoever. So I was looking for a way to, branch out. So fast forward to the other night, my friend invites me to this trauma healing group in Merced, where I live right now. And I was like, what? She sent me the link, and it was like 12 weeks free, healing your trauma. And I was like, wait a minute. Somebody else is doing this? This is incredible. I was so excited. And then it was at a trailer park. And I was like, that's even better. It's more rest, like in there. And these are real people that are doing this, right? So I it came down to when we were going to go. And then it turns out that the people that were running it were scamming. They were trying to get people to come in there to get money from them. And this girl that invited me knew them, but didn't know that that was them at first. So then it kind of dawned on me why my friend asked me, why are you doing this in an accusatory way? Because people have little trust in each other these days. And so when somebody comes to the Healing Project alone, I'm like, that's the bravest person in the world, going to strangers alone to talk about your issues. And I pretty much open it up with, who wants to talk? Who wants to share? And they're like, wait, you just automatically share? Yes, we do that. And I guess that's the story of that part.
So, what you experienced with the event or the other group that you went to helped you to see that situation in a different light. The lady who spoke to you. I'm curious what her experience was, like from her perspective, because, well, I'll share a story that comes to mind. So I met a new friend. Her name's Yvonne, and she was telling me about how she went to a retreat where a big part of what you did was take responsibility without any resistance for what the other person is saying. So she gave an example of how she and a friend had a male friend. She and a male friend had made plans to go see a movie, and she knew that her finances were low, her bank account, but she thought that she was going to have use of a free ticket because of where they were going. She had a free movie ticket credit or whatever. Well, as it turned out, that plan fell through because they ended up going to a different theater. And rather than asking her friend, saying, okay, here's my situation. Can you help me out? Can I borrow a few dollars or whatever? She just let him purchase the ticket and didn't make any kind of comment about it. And afterwards, when they were together at this retreat, and from her perspective, what happened was like, oh, my friend just volunteered to buy a ticket. Wasn't that nice? But in reality, his experience was, oh, well, she just assumed that I would purchase this ticket for her. She's taking advantage of me like other people in the past have taken advantage of me. And, other women, I guess he had that experience and felt used. And so, they're doing this face-to-face thing at the retreat. And he's like, you just assumed that I would purchase the ticket. And instead of defending herself and letting her ego get involved, she's like, yes, that's true. And she said it was so powerful to not offer any kind of resistance to the experience that he had, because even though she had a different perspective, she was acknowledging her part in his experience. That was the story that came to mind, because I'm wondering, the lady that you shared your perspective, but I wonder what her perspective is, the lady that
Right,
questioned you, like, why are you doing that? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
right, of course. And
um,
yeah, I think that it had a lot to do with going to churches and when you go to a church group, you're more than likely their ulterior motive is to bring you in to the church, to make you become a church member or whatever they want you to do. And but for me, I didn't have an agenda. My agenda was basically listening to other people talk. I could listen to someone talk for 5 hours. I found out about myself. And I'm like, but not everybody can do that. And that's okay. So I have a time limit now. When we have the group meeting, I have a little time limit going on. So it was weird. When I look back on it, I wish I would have said, well, here's my agenda. I'm putting LSD in all the food, all the drinks, so that everybody loves each other. But I wasn't clever
we're
then.
gonna have a kumbaya moment when everybody's
Yeah,
high
we're,
as hell.
yes. I was like, this is going to be good. But it turned out her husband had passed away, right? And we went to his memorial. Me and my husband did. And one of the things that he had done that she never really talked about was he had a group at the Unity of Merced, and he supported people in the group. So they would come there and they would talk about, grief or whatever was going on in their lives, and he would listen. So the correlation of that, I was like, wow. So we had that in common. I didn't even really know him, but
Those synchronicities start to stack up in my experience. Like, the people that the energy that you put out is what you'll draw, right?
yes, I think
Um,
so.
yeah, that I've seen that happen over and over. I had and I shared a video on here actually where I talked about I was having a moment of grief, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to shift to a mindset of my needs will be met. They're already met. I will get to interact with the people who will connect with me. I'll experience that feeling of connection, because the grief was over having left a campsite and a little friend behind. And the story that happened next, and I won't go into detail because people can watch the video if they want to know the whole thing, but is that I, within an hour, met another person who was overcoming grief in a positive way. And that was in itself magical, because the odds of that happening were pretty slim.
Mm,
So it's like, okay, well, what's the lens that you're looking through?
right.
And I think back a lot of times to where Bashar talks about the five spiritual laws, and
Mhm.
the two that really stand out the most for me, because okay, well, I'll go through the five laws, but most of them are like, oh, all right, well, that's just true. So there's the all is mind, or the all. You'll see, I'm getting myself flustered here. All is one. Everything is now. You exist. What you put out, you get back, and um, everything changes, but the first four laws.
Mhm.
And so what I end up settling on, like, okay, you know, eliminating the ones that like I have no control over. Yes, I exist. Yes, everything's one. Yes, everything is now. What's the one I do have any kind of say over? What you put out, you get back. Okay. wow. So you're looking in the mirror. What's
Mhm.
the mirror saying to you? Um, I, if you would be willing to jump back into the story that you started to share before I turned the camera on,
Oh, yeah.
about your husband, if that's
Yeah.
okay for you to share
Yeah,
that story.
of course, of course. So, I mean, I guess it goes back to his, it did start with some stress at work. So he started with stress at work, which led to vertigo. Then on my birthday, we went to San Francisco to pick up our daughter from the airport. She went to Arizona and then came back. Well, she looked fine, but she was obviously, I didn't know this then, but she was dehydrated. She hadn't eaten, she was drinking, blah, blah, blah. So we're in the car and we brought her some food. Of course, we brought her some macaroni from Butcher's Son. And she ate some of that. And then all of a sudden she's in the back seat going, oh, I want donuts. I want this. I want like a lot of sugary stuff. And we're like, I mean, of course, I have to bite my lip because I can't stand sugar. I can't stand it, especially my kids. I don't want them to, but they're older, so I can't say anything. So, so we're driving, and all of a sudden I look back at her, and she's pale, and I'm like, "Are you all right?" And all of a sudden she just slumps over. Her eyes started dilating, and she slumps over, and she's unresponsive to us. So my other daughter, our older daughter, is screaming, "Pull over!" So we start pulling over, and my husband gets out and starts, you know, slapping her face, trying to get her to. She was not responding whatsoever. So I called 911 and they had us lay her down, put her legs up, and then finally, I'm she says, I go, hey Taylor, I love you, and she said, I love you too, and it just, I mean, we thought we were watching her die, and it was awful to see that because it was like her eyes would just like all of a sudden dilate, and I've never seen anything like this before. But the ambulance came and took her, and she ended up being fine. She was very dehydrated, and they gave her fluids, and she was fine. She's been fine since, eating more healthy too. So after that, that's when he started having the pain in his kidneys. So he's like, it must be a kidney stone. And I go, well, you know what you need to do? You need to stop doing what you're doing and start doing what you need to do, which is rest. Because he's like, I got a show, I got work, I can't miss work, I can never do this and do. So he was just like going in this spiral of having to do stuff for people who, not that they don't care about him, but he needs to care about himself first and foremost. So he was took 2 weeks off, and we were trying to get to the bottom of it. So I kept asking him, why do you think this is here? What do you think is going on? And he said, well, I think it's stress from work and me not taking days off when I should be taking days off. I'm always just trying to go, no vacations. He has so much sick days, so much vacation time, and he doesn't take it. I said, you better start doing it. And so when he came up with the fact that it was work related and not me related, that really triggered me. And I wanted it to be me related so I could fix it because I wanted to control the outcome of the situation. And I think that with our daughter doing that and then this happening, it showed me I have no control over anything at all. And I think that was the gift in that whole thing. So now he's doing a lot better. After I did a reading on it. I talked to the area that was painting him, and it basically did say you need to stop, collaborate, and listen, and start to take some time to yourself. Start to heal yourself because that you're the main healer in your life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you got triggered by the idea that he said it was work rather than you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you mentioned the idea of wanting to be able to control it and fix it. Is it uh is there something there within you that's like, okay, this person's struggling with pain and I'm experiencing that as within myself, and if I can fix it for them, then I don't have to feel this anymore.
Right, exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
Because the thing, I think that there is a definite theme in my life, and it's watching suffering happen. I'm always, I always seem to be watching it, and with somebody who doesn't get the awareness of their body-mind connection. And I say stuff to them, but they're usually rolling their eyes at me and don't want to hear it. And then I realize, okay, this isn't mine to solve. I got to back away from this. This isn't mine to solve. It does suck to see people you love and care about in a suffering mode, but really, it's their suffering, not mine. I can't take credit for it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, letting go, like you said, of the control of it,
Hmm.
and um letting them have the journey that they're gonna have.
Yeah.
Um that's been a huge thing for me too, to learn is allow other people to have their experience.
Yeah.
And even if that means they're choosing something that you want to go, oh no, don't choose that. Like that's the wrong way. um, but recognizing more and more that everything, the universe is designed to continually point out to us where we're not free yet,
Hmm.
and um, allow people to have that experience to wake up to who they truly are. Which, in the beginning, you were asking yourself, who am I? What am I?
Hmm.
Is this greater awareness, not just, Erica Fowler and she's a mom and a wife and blah blah blah. Um, your creator, universe, whatever, however word you like to put that, um, as we all are, and um, becoming more and more aware of that. It like everything points us in that direction has been my experience, and um, allowing us to see, oh, I'm not this person, this personality, this experience that I'm having right now. I'm the one that's observing it, and makes it easier not to buy into the suffering, because you realize it's not actually who you are. It's not actually who they are. It's just the experience that they're having right now.
Mm.
And it's, as you were talking about watching people have suffering, and that you can't own that. I remembered a quote by Eckhart Tolle, where he says, refuse to see suffering. And I've dove into that a lot, and I thought I had a grasp on what he meant by that. And then I explored it some more, and I'm like, oh, I think I get it. The Course in Miracles talks about how um, time doesn't actually exist, because from a and not to say time as in, you know don't make an appointment to go to wherever you got to go, but in the psychological sense, like we have past experiences, and we use those to inform us of what the future is going to be, but that's not actually true, because we're walking into unknown possibilities all the time and have no idea what the outcome's going to be.
Mhm.
So it very much is, like you said, letting go of that control, because our ego's like, oh no, I gotta know the ending. Like, I want to make sure this turns out the way I like.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
um,
And that's another thing, knowing a second before something happens. That's like been a thing for me now. I'm just like and now I can go back in my life and go, okay, I knew that was going to happen. and I must have wanted to experience that shitty thing. And
Yeah.
well, but
Yeah.
because that shitty thing really changed my life and it opened up this new door, this new pathway that I could walk down and be like, I had that experience now. But why do I have it? I don't know. But I find that very interesting.
Yeah. I've had so much of that happen lately, and I mean I've gotten to a point where, and Evan have been doing this for a few years now, where I ask the question, how is this for me?
Mhm.
And sometimes it's easier to say that than others, right? Like when the Zoom call wouldn't, when my computer wouldn't work right earlier, and I'm having to figure out how am I going to be on this call with Erica, how is this for me? Was I don't know, but it'll work out. Not too bent about it, just like it's a minor inconvenience. But then when you have something major happen, like with the story you just described with your daughter passing out in the back seat and wondering if she's going to live or not, like, okay, how is this for me? What am I being taught right now? Um, and I had big plans for traveling with a partner, and that fell through. And there's a whole lot of story there, but the end result of it first was me going into a major panic, and then after the panic ended, it was slowly starting to take steps forward and watching synchronicity after synchronicity happen. And I was like, oh my God. And along the way, there was certainly times where more challenges came, but then the answer always came too. And it was like, okay, so this is very much about me learning to trust. Trust, trust, trust.
Mhm.
And like you said, letting go of that control is very much about surrender. Not because you know exactly how things are going to turn out, but because how it turns out isn't like it's, can I choose to recognize that I'm okay no matter what? No matter what.
Right.
Um, and that's a challenging question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Your ego very much is like, nope, I'm not okay. This is not okay. I don't like this. I don't want it to be this way. It's not okay.
Yeah, especially
Mhm.
right now with the state of everything. We have to kind of, because a lot of people are freaked out, but I'm really not that as freaked out because I see the possibilities before us. I don't just see, it's not really black and white for me. It's
Same.
possibilities.
I don't dive into that stuff, but I hear it from other people.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the reasons I don't dive into it is because I don't want to focus my energy on those things. Um, because I recognize how powerful our thoughts are.
Mhm.
Back to, I think we mentioned that earlier. Um, and then at the same time, realizing we can take that energy where we're fighting against whatever and use it to heal ourselves or heal the, like, move forward in a positive direction. Um, Stop looking in the mirror and expecting to see something different if you keep telling yourself the same story. And I've actually, this is a good point to share this. I wasn't sure how, if I was going to be able to include this or not. I wasn't going to force it, but it fits well here. Um, so I've just recently started working with a group of people who are creating, or they've already started creating a network of intentional communities, but unlike any kind of intentional community stuff that I've worked with before, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. But um, and he Dirk, the founder, is calling it Net Positive Villages, and it's based on creating the best possible world. That doesn't mean it's perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. We're always going to be evolving, But we can shoot for best possible. And he's got all of these ideas. And he's doing it. He's not just talking about it, he's doing it. And he's got ideas that help the environment, not just like, oh, we're going to recycle or something, but like big ideas. And stuff that relates to how people interact and helping create more awareness of oneness, but not in a I'm going to try to shove it down your throat kind of a way, but just like, this is what's true. Let's act like it. And I'm super excited about it, to the point that I decided to become an affiliate for it, which is not something I do easily, because I have to really, really be passionate about something to want to talk about it at that level. But he's got, yeah, yeah. My point being, that to bounce off of what you said, there's lots of possibilities, and there's lots of people that are focusing their attention on the world they want to build instead of the one that a lot of us are seeing in the news.
And I also believe that we create the matrix, okay? There's no they, them, or anything that's creating. It's me. I'm creating my own matrix. When we're born, we're in another person's matrix. Even though we're born and we're in it too, they're telling us their matrix, and we are
Right.
accepting it. And then all of a sudden we have this moment in our lives when our parent dies or when we lose someone. I usually feel like it's when you lose someone that pops out. Then you pop out of that matrix and you go, oh, I can create my own matrix now.
Well, and to come back, so two things I'll say onto that. Yes, I agree. We're projecting our own reality, but then also there's like the collective reality, which is what you're describing. And coming back to the comment earlier about the suffering, and not to focus on somebody else's suffering, because one of the things, and I agree with you about the losing somebody can be one of those ways in which you get a wake up from that. Because the suffering becomes so intense that your ego's like, oh, this isn't sustainable. We can't keep pulling energy. This person's going to die. And so you step out of the story because it becomes so incredibly difficult to stay in it that you just can't anymore. And so on that note, and not to say that everybody will have this or need to have this kind of experience, but a lot of people that I've talked with who have had a wake up experience had one because they were experiencing some level of great suffering. And so the mind was like, oh, overload, too much, can't do this anymore. And then you shift, right? So that's one of the things one of the filters I look through. That's one of the stories that I tell myself, as far as this collective reality that we have going on right now, and the things that are happening, is gives people more reason to go within and see what's true, instead of, oh my God, this is happening on the news and this and that and the other thing. When you recognize you feel so completely out of control within the reality that you're in, you start looking for a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
I made a reel on that as well. I was talking about there was a quote. There's a few quotes that were talking about peace, but one of them was what did it say? I can remember it was Viktor Frankl, and something like, when the outer experience becomes beyond our control and too challenging, I'm paraphrasing, then we're encouraged to go within. Like, yeah, 100%. And I think that's what we're both agreeing on.
And that's another thing when if it's true for us that we know a second before something happens. Like I knew a second before that happened that my daughter was going to do that. I don't know why. I just had a feeling.
Yeah.
What's to say the people that in this world that are going through things aren't doing the same thing? They know before it happens. And that also like you say, taking somebody's experience away from them, whether it be good or bad or whatever it is. You
Right.
have to, because sometimes, like when I feel like when in death, my mother died and she brought me to a different level. Like her dying would, she never died. Like if she lived to be 120, I don't know if I would ever come out of that, this matrix, until she was 120 and she died if I was still alive. There would
Right.
not be that. She, it's almost as if it's like Jesus on the cross, which I don't really think about that, doing that, like suffering or surrendering. Maybe it's a surrendering for us to go to the next level, to somehow reach some sort of mecca that we
Yeah.
need to have within
Well,
ourselves.
the Mecca is up here, right?
Yes.
Like we stop looking at the world around us as something that is to be fought against, and we start going, oh, like the whole thing is an experience that I'm having, and it's more or less like a dream. Like I'm wearing this virtual reality meat suit,
Yeah.
and I'm having all of these feelings, and can I choose to focus, not to say, not to make any of them wrong, first of all, like
Mhm.
there's no bad feelings, there's just ones we like and ones we don't like, um and choose to, instead of resisting those, then make, which then just makes more of it, right?
Mhm.
Because again, back to the, what you put out you get back. So, as you focus a whole lot on whatever, then you're going to get more of that.
That's really true. And unfortunately, I can tell you like an example from Healing Project. We have, a lot of people in our Healing Project had great relationships with their family, which is really rare. Like you'll see people saying, "Oh, well, I didn't never had any issues with my mom or dad. They were like the best mom and dad ever." But then if you go a little bit further, you'll find somewhere where they weren't protecting the person. And when you see that, and you see that the person's suffering still to this day, you start to understand they are recreating that. They're trying to find somebody else in their lives that's going to save the day, protect them, and they'll never find it because they don't know why they're looking for that. And to me, that's even sneakier of a parent. Because like my mom was out there with the way she treated me. She was honest with how she treated me. I didn't ever see her as, oh, you're a saintly woman or anything like that. I knew what was going on. But to be that sneaky, to be cool, but then also to have that moment where you're gonna choose this person over your child, and you're gonna make them okay, and well, you just you're gonna be okay because you're you, right? But kids need that. That's a big thing for a child to have to go through. And if people aren't going to become aware of it and hold that accountable, sometimes if your parent's so good, you can't hold them accountable for anything because wow, you were so good to me, but you don't know. You have this skewed vision of it, and now that is screwing your life up, so to speak. And you're looking for the bad. You're looking for the boogeyman and you're looking for people who are going to save you. And if they don't, then they're, you know, the asshole.
You're putting it, all of it, outside of yourself, instead of recognizing that you're continuing to create the same experience,
Yes.
and you keep attracting that same experience into your life to allow it to be felt and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
I think about like like Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, where, you know, he doesn't spend a lot of energy focusing people on, okay, we got to heal all this trauma from the past.
Mm-hmm.
But as they sit there in meditation for, you know, sometimes hours or whatever, stuff bubbles up to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it comes up as, you know, a pain in their back or whatever. Um, can they sit with it and not judge it? Can they just be with the feeling and not make it wrong? Not to say that they prefer it, not to say that they want more of it, but just let it be. And you know, that's coming back to the unconditional love, right? Like I have you know, you mentioned about surrender, and you brought up that video that I made before we started recording, and me busting out into tears. And I had, first of all, no intention of crying on camera. That's something that I really don't care to do. But at the same time, so afterwards, I just rolled with it because I'm like, okay, this is what wants to come up right now. Can I allow it? Yes. And, you know, it wasn't even just like a whole big thought process. It was just like, oh, this is happening. Okay. And just keep going. And then my ego was very tempted to control the situation by trying to edit the video before I put it out. And then I started having all these technical difficulties. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm releasing the video, even though my ego's over here going, no, don't do it. People are going to think whatever, you know. And I'm like, okay, so at what point, you know, I'm telling myself with compassion, at what point do I get to choose to be who I am in this moment, which of course is constantly changing for all of us, right? We're always evolving and different things are coming up for us. Um, if I shut myself down and say, "Oh, I can't put that out there because people might have whatever opinion," well then I'm just people pleasing. I'm not being myself. I'm coming from trauma. I've just betrayed myself by expecting other people to meet some need and save the day, like you said, you know, oh, they'll make it better by saying or doing whatever, or they'll make it worse by saying or doing whatever. Like, no, this is the moment that I'm having, and y'all don't have to have an opinion about it, or you can if you want. But this is the moment that I'm having right
Mm-hmm.
now, and I'm not going to judge it. Even though I started to, I was like, oh no, I got to control things. I got to make sure people have this kind of an opinion of me. Um, like, no, no, there's because that's never ending, right? Then you don't have your own experience. You're having somebody else's experience of you.
Exactly. Exactly. You're helping that person feel comfortable for a moment. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, crying is one of the most beautiful things that anybody does because I held it in so long that once I start crying, I continued to cry on and on throughout my life since I let my first tears go. Because that was a big release for me. I realized how important it was to cry when my mom died. But I didn't
Yeah.
for like 5 months. I was like, I couldn't um, wrap my brain around how to grieve because I was not taught how to grieve. I didn't see any examples that were, because I did not want to lay in bed and be depressed for the rest of my days. That was like not something that I could do or wanted to do. So I knew that there was some other side to it. And she kept on taking me up to these different levels that I remember. And I'd be like, what is going on? Because I had no idea, as they say, you don't have the language for what is going on and what's happening to you. But I kept seeing flashes of my life. And to me, if we were going to say also another, um, what do you call it? What do you call it? Lesson or top? What is it when you're theme of your life? Sorry. The theme of my life was to be a victim because that's what I saw in the family. I saw victims always. It was somebody else who did this and somebody else who did this. No one ever took any sort of accountability for themselves.
Responsibility. Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
had to maneuver through all of those things to get to this. And what I was seeing when I would go have I guess it's a live life review, I was seeing why I got molested, why I got cheated on, why all of the things that happened to me happened. And I was like, but it's not a big thing. I said, I wanted those things to happen. Obviously, I was looking for those things to happen. And I hate to
Mm,
say it because people don't like it when you say, I was molested and I see why I was molested. That's like, you can't, society wanting you to be like, nope, you're a victim. He did that to you, and now you got to do this and that and the other. Not saying that it's, I'm not saying not to fight for it or whatever, but in my opinion, in my feel, I saw it as I needed to be seen by someone. And
yeah.
yeah, and it was like I had to be seen in that moment, and it happened in that moment. And yes, it's all wrong, but at the same time, it's what it happened to me. And that's okay. I don't have to continue on being that person. The person that I was molested as a child and an adult, as a sleeping adult. So when I was molested as a sleeping adult, I realized how out of touch I was and how I wasn't seeing things that were going on in my own life. I was blaming that person for everything that was going on. And to me, forgiveness is selfish. The most selfish thing that we can do is forgive because that's for me. It's not for him. It's not for anybody else. It's for me because I'm walking out of my prison and they can stay in theirs if they want to, but I'm walking out of it because I don't want to be part of it anymore. Because how awful, and especially in like if you're in the media eye and you're stuck with that, because you see people looking at you in that way. Oh, poor Erica. Do you remember what happened to her? Oh, God, no wonder. No wonder. But no, I'm not weak like that. I want to be strong. I want to be in myself. And I do believe stick up for yourself, stand up for yourself. And, if somebody just isn't doing something not nice, do a boundary. You can do that. I had no boundary. I didn't even know what a boundary was till this year. No, last year. It's like finally understood boundaries. I was like, oh shit, so I can do that? And I realized also that when I set a boundary, that that relationship that ended was going to end anyways. There was nothing I could do to stop it from ending. If I say, oh, can you please not do this or not do that or not do this? And oh, now I'm mad at you. So I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Fine. Obviously, that was what was supposed to happen. Yes.
I love all of that. Thank you. Wow. The you're describing how is this for me? How is this for me? And you
Mhm.
went deep with it, and I love that. Um, so I told you ahead of time I would ask this question. It's the perfect opportunity. Um, when did you notice the story shift? Was it during that life review, or what took place for you to get to a point of, oh my God, everything is happening for me, and I can rewrite the story. And you did rewrite the
Mhm.
story.
Good.
So tell me more about how that went.
How it went? Well, it started off with grieving from my mother in a unhealthy way. So I was basically on the couch and I was pretty much dying. I was like underweight. My heart was crushed. So I was having broken heart syndrome. And one day, I had it, dude. I was just like ready to go get on opioids. Is that the word?
I think
Ambien,
that's right.
whatever the heck it is that makes
Yeah,
you no longer feel anything. Like I
yeah,
had,
yeah.
there was my other branch, right? So I went to the hospital and I said, well, can I have some Xanax to help me? And the doctor turned around and he looks at me, he goes, no, you can't. I said, why? He goes, it's highly addictive. And when he said that, I was like, he gives a shit. I was like, I'm shocked.
That's the point. Don't you understand?
You give a shit. And then
I'm
after
over
that,
here trying to end my life. Aren't you going to help me?
aren't you gonna actually help me to numb myself, please? So I came home and I started to try to do my things that I was doing before, and it was hard. I'm going to be honest. It was like I didn't want to be here anymore. And the my husband and my two daughters came home, and I got up and I said, "Can we just hug each other?" And we all started hugging, and we all started crying at the same time. And I was like, "Oh my God, it just automatically felt like." It was the best feeling I've ever had in my life. And I was like, I really needed this. And that hasn't stopped since. But I feel sad for my children and my husband after it because I kept on going into the past and I would bring up the thing and they're like, they didn't know a lot of the things in the detail that I was telling them. But I said, you know what? It's okay. And I was crying hard. I couldn't even open my eyes. That's how hard I was crying. I said, I'm not a victim to anything that has ever happened to me. I am totally, this is me. It's over. It was almost as if, you're going up to your shadow and you're grabbing it and you're like looking at it like, like, yeah, try me. And then all of a sudden it's gone, just like that. And I want everybody to do that. I want everyone to experience this because being free is the medicine too.
Oh, for sure, girl. That's the whole point. I, as you shared that, like, it's okay. It's okay. And my heart opened. When you said I'm not a victim anymore, this is me. And oh my goodness, the, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
I,
you.
um, one of the things that I choose to feel, so each morning I ask myself, how do I want to feel? And that doesn't mean other feelings won't come up, but what's my focus going to be, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of times it's gratitude or presence, same thing really. Um, but a lot of times it's I choose to feel unconditional love or the possibility of remembering unconditional love because
Mhm.
every time I see somebody who remembers who they are, who remembers that they're a creator, not a victim, who remembers that they've written a beautiful story and that they can love themselves and all of their synchronicity, their idiosyncrasies, if you will, um, unconditionally, because unconditional love means that, right? Like unconditional. And it just warms my heart. It's like watching somebody set themselves free. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like watching a baby be born. You're just
That's
like,
right.
oh my goodness, this person realizes there's nothing wrong.
There's
Like,
nothing wrong with you the whole time.
yeah, yep, yep.
And that's the coolest part. It's like uh, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new story now. And we're living it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you said something the other day about the experience. It's you're waking up and you're realizing you're part of the universe. The universe is experiencing you, and you're experiencing the universe. And there's no judgment. There's nothing that's holding you back at this point.
Right.
This is it.
Right. 100%. There's a person I follow on Substack, and he wrote, "There is no scoreboard. It was always inside of you. Like
Mm.
there's nothing to compare to. It's not a competition. There's not, oh, if I do all the good things or all the, whatever. There's no scoreboard. There's no so there's nothing wrong. And the fact that you were able to get to that point, even with the idea of somebody molesting you, that's huge.
Mhm.
That's huge. And there's a quote. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can show it on the camera right now, but I'll read it. I have a plaque in my camper here. A friend made me, she took, oh, they're beautiful pictures, but she took, uh, what's that paper called? Like cardstock, paper, and did watercolors on it and made these beautiful images, and then calligraphy, and made quotes over it. And so they look like almost like greeting cards, but they're way prettier.
Mm.
Um, and this quote, I've got three quotes that are by Byron Katie, and they tie in really well with this conversation. So I'm going to read them all. The first one I want to read is, life is simple. Everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon or too late. You don't have to like it. It's just easier if you do. And then the second one is, the burden is never life. It's what you are thinking and believing about life. And the last one is, pay close attention to the particular thoughts you use to deprive yourself of happiness.
Mhm.
When you made that remark about forgiveness, and it's one of the most selfish things we can do because we're walking out of a cage.
Mhm.
Yes, we are potentially also, in some regard, helping to set the other person free by choosing not to put our energy there anymore. But yes, it's, you know, pay attention to the thoughts you use to deprive yourself of happiness. When we're stuck in the past and we're saying, well, this shouldn't have happened and this shouldn't have done, whatever, then we are creating that prison that you described. So forgiveness to me means just letting go of the past. It doesn't mean making it right. It doesn't mean, people should go around molesting one another.
Right. Of course.
And I know that, you remarked on that. Having boundaries is a good thing. It's self-love, it's recognizing this is the amount of energy I'm willing to put in this situation. And beyond that, I'm gonna walk away or do what I gotta do. Um, but it's walking out of that prison of expecting other people to protect you or to save you or to fix you or to
Mhm.
make everything okay. Like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And we're always looking for not us, but knight in shining armor. This
Oh,
person's
I've had those moments.
yeah, where this person's going to be the most perfect person in the world, and they're going to come in and save the day. But in reality, it's you that he needs to be the perfect person coming in and
Yeah,
not perfect, but imperfectly perfect, saving the day for yourself,
yeah.
Like,
That's
yeah.
like the community that I mentioned, where the guy talks about, 'cause like at first I was like, oh, well, this isn't this and it's not that. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to um, make this person create the perfect situation, and only
Mhm.
I can create the feeling that I want within me, that emotional sovereignty, that freedom that we're talking about. And at the same time going, he keeps talking about best possible, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it, because it um is only ever going to be what I put into it is what I'm going to get out of it, right? um Years ago, when I was still attending church, I remember hearing somebody say, when you have a person who's hopping from church to church to church trying to find the perfect one, and they keep going, no, not this one. This one's wrong. This one's wrong. This one's wrong.
Yep,
um,
and
and
that.
not to say anything about churches because that's a whole nother rabbit hole, but to understand that if every place you go you find the wrongness of it, what's the common denominator?
You.
Oh, all right. So I'm expecting everybody else to make me happy and to give me my freedom and to provide whatever. Um, and it's, oh, okay, I
Ah,
see. Thanks for the
yeah.
mirror.
Yeah, literally, God's really taking the mirror and showing you what's up every time
Right.
we're really listening or watching. We really do find out the answer. They're there.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. It's looking at, knowing, back to the idea of everything is one, and looking at other people and going, okay, well, if there's something in them that I'm seeing that I really don't approve of, what is it about myself that I'm rejecting right now? Because I'm first giving myself that judgment.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean you have to agree with all the decisions that people make or be a part of them. Um, but resisting it, making it wrong, just makes it a part of you. Like you've now judged yourself, and okay, just pick a new direction. Like that one's not
Exactly.
working for you. Go a different way.
Yeah, and a lot of people miss that cue where if they don't like someone, what they're doing, how they're acting, there's something in that person that is you. And you don't,
Yeah,
there's something in you that is not acting right or not doing right in yourself, not them. They're off of it. It's you. And that's a hard thing for people to even grasp because they don't want to go there. They don't want to take the responsibility of it being them.
yeah, yeah. That's some next level radical responsibility.
Hmm.
Um, and it's yeah, coming back to the whole ego thing, and uh I had this realization after I recently read the book The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And towards the end of reading it, I was like, oh my God, only ego can see ego because it's the matrix, right? Like, I had, well, you and I haven't caught up in a while. I'll share this briefly. Last summer, so 25, um, I had a mushroom journey experience.
Oh,
And
cool.
I ended up having a DMT release as a result. And
Huh.
so I saw some really profound stuff, but what I felt was a level of awe that's indescribable. And the closest thing I can compare it to, as both of us being mothers can relate to this comment, similar but even greater, if you can imagine that, to seeing your to seeing your child the moment that they're born. You have like this
Mm.
love that just overwhelms you, and you're like, oh my God, this person is perfect.
Mhm.
And it felt like that, but bigger. And what I saw was um the friend of mine who served the mushrooms and directed the ceremony um was translucent, and she had beams of like twinkle lights running through her, and was just perfect, just perfect.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I saw another friend of mine who was going, and he was just smiling so big. And again, like I saw no flaws there at all. And of course, eventually the mushrooms wear off, and you come back to reality. And then all of a sudden you're seeing the flaws again, right? Like, oh, that person does this and they do that, and
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, okay, why am I resisting? And it's because we think that there's this right and wrong thing happening, and again, it doesn't mean we can't have boundaries or preferences, but um there is no moral code. There's no um scoreboard. There's no heaven hell in the sense of like you die and you get served some kind of justice. um it's creating the experience that you want to have, and just keep stepping in that direction.
Mm.
And it was the I had a dream that night after the mushrooms. I had a dream that night. Um, and the dream reiterated what I experienced, which was everything is sacred. And that's a big pill to swallow. And I've been continuing to integrate that for months now. Everything is sacred because we're creating all of it.
Yeah.
So how could it not be? So then it's like, well, what do you choose to create? And when you get out of that space of like, I'm a victim, now you're a creator. What do you choose to create? Oh
Mm.
my God, whatever I want. Like
Yeah,
the life of my dreams, and that it doesn't necessarily mean that everything outside of you is going to conform to your way. It means you stop looking at it as, oh, this is wrong and it's supposed to be making me happy.
right. I think that's another trap where we think that we should always be happy constantly. That's a trap because if we're happy and we're always happy and always peaceful, where are we learning? Where are we growing?
Yeah, and at the same time, I think there's another level of that. Like on the one hand, I agree with you. You've got like the experience that your physical being is having is not necessarily happy. Like you're angry, you're sad, you're whatever. At the same time, rising up to that place of observing, like, oh, yep, she's having a moment, like, but that's not me. That's just the person I created, and it's okay. Like,
Yes. And
give
that's
her a hug, she'll be all
yeah,
right.
yeah, it's all good. And
Yeah,
I do also notice that when you are operating from that higher self, you're totally answering everything differently. It's almost as if of course, it's the guide, and you're understanding it, and you're not having a fight with somebody that you might have a fight with because you are in your lower self. Your upper self, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why you
yeah,
parked the car. I get it. It's okay.
I love that. I love that. Well, I have very much enjoyed getting to catch up. Is there anything um else that you would like to share before I hit the stop button on the record?
Well, if your viewers, I would like to say to all of us, of course, and I wrote this down. Oops, what happened? It says, don't give up, don't give in, don't be afraid, and don't be discouraged. Just think, but don't overthink. That would be, yeah.
Like my quote that said, what did it say? The burden is never life; it's what you are thinking and believing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like your quote, yes. And at the same time, if you give up or you get afraid or any of those things that you said, just start over. Just keep
Start
trucking.
over. Exactly. It's okay.
Yep, yep. Well, thank you so much. This has been fun.